Hey, welcome to our Windows Server Administration course. This course is organized by Coding Ladies Academy. So I welcome you all to this course. With this course, we are going to talk about Windows servers. We have different servers where we focus on Windows Server, how you can administer it or how you can manage and configure some Windows Server um, features here. Okay, so in this specific course, this is a short course, just 1 month, so we'll not go much into details, but we'll talk about the most important things that you need to know about Windows Server Administration, what you need to learn before you start configuring your servers and other stuffs. So we will talk about Windows Server. What is Windows Server? We'll talk about that by the end of this video. We will look at IP address in our next video. We will look at virtual machines. What are virtual machines and why are they important in this course? We talk about that. We also talk about domain name systems, DNS. They are used to match IP address to domain names, or they are used to resolve host names to IP address. We'll talk about that in details in another session. We also talk about Active Directory services. This thing help you manage users, group users. So you should, in case your company have department, you can use Active Directory to group um your environment into departments. Let's say finance, HR, IT, and other departments. And you can manage them and manage their users. You can also assign users to these various departments. We also talk about DHCP configuration. So that one deals with automatically assigning IP address. We talk much about it later. Then we also talk about server management with PowerShell, how we can create users using PowerShell and some basic PowerShell script. We talk about these things. Alright, so this is a little information about me. My name is Abwaji Nicholas Akumi Okana. You can also call me Naki. I'm a systems and network engineer with experts in cybersecurity, web development, cloud administration, have certification in Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Service. I also edit Wikipedia. I'm an active Wikipedia editor. So should in case you want to learn how you can edit Wikipedia or contribute to open knowledge, you can also contact me for that. I also frequently create tech content, whether an article, blog, or video tutorials on various social media platforms. So you can follow me there. I have my usernames down there. I, I have also included my LinkedIn link. So you should, in case you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can also use this link to connect with me. So there's a little information about me. All right. Now this course, before you start learning this course, what do you need? Um, from previous courses, you learn about HTML, that's programming and other stuffs. You just need your laptop and internet access, and you are good to go. So with this course, what do we need? One is you need your laptop, and the laptop should have at least 4 gig RAM. So if you have 6 gig, 8 gig, that's better. But at least you need to get 4 gig RAM because you are going to run virtual machines on top of your host OS or your main machine. You also need at least 50 gig storage. It's not that we are going to use all that 50 gig storage, but it's better if you have that 50 gig storage free space on your machine. Okay. One thing that we also need that is not here is you need to download an ISO image for Microsoft Windows Server. You also download VMware Workstation or VMware Pro, maybe 16 Pro, depending on the version that you want, 16 Pro or 17 or 15 or 14. The version, any version will be able to help you in this course. So you will need that. Okay, so get all these things prepared before we start the course. All right. The first topic in the course is server. We are going to learn about server administration. So what's a server? We will talk about what a server is, types of servers. We have basic server, we have basic servers that we will talk about. They are normally used in our day-to-day activities. So we talk about those servers. We also talk about the features, uses, important benefits of servers. We talk about that. Examples of Windows servers too. We talk about some of them. Then when we say someone is a server administrator, who is that person? Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's why you. That's why you. Ojú oníwọ̀ oníṣẹ̀ṣe. Yeah. Náà ọkọ̀ ọ̀sọ̀ òní ṣùgbọ́n. All right, guys. Sorry for that. Okay. So what's a server? So let's take this as let's go outside IT. Let's go to maybe a chop bar or a restaurant, something that we are used to or we are familiar with. When you go to a restaurant as a client, you go and sit down, then someone will approach you. What do you need? We normally call this person service. They are going to serve you. Yeah. So a server provide a service to a client. Yeah. So if a client needs something, you the client will tell the server, server please I need maybe fufu or maybe I need rice or I need gobe. Then the server will provide whatever the client requests to the client. So the same thing applies to IT servers. Here they are a computer system that is meant to provide a dedicated service. So they can provide a dedicated service like print service, file share, storage service, any other service that you can think of. You can even give out IP address. We have different types of server rules that a server can perform. Yeah. So when we talk about the server, we are talking about a computer system, a machine that is dedicated to provide maybe a data, a service or program to other computers, whether mobile phone, whether laptop, whether desktop, they will be able to access what the server have. So this all other computers are known as clients, the same as the restaurant scenario over a network. So for you to have access to something on a server, you need to be on that server's network. Whether you pass through an ISP or you use cable network, you still need to be um on a network with that same server. Okay, so in short, servers are just a computer that provides service to other computers. So we can even turn our personal computer to be a server. That one, it depends on you and the role that that server is playing. We can also have a dedicated server that has been configured to stay at somewhere. When we take let's say TTU for instance, or any other universities, students are able to access their reports, their exams results through their mobile devices. There is a server somewhere, there is a computer somewhere that is storing all those informations. So when the student, that's the client here, request for that service from that computer, then the computer return maybe your results, or if you want to access your lecture, those information to the student. So the same thing applies here. Also, when we say a server role, a server role is basically what the server performs. So this server is a print server. So the role of that server is just printing, initiating print jobs. This server is a file server. The role of that server is maybe file shells and other things. So depending on what the server does, the job of the server, that's what determine that server role. So in this network, we have two items, or we have two things. We have a client and a server. So there is always a client requesting and there is always a server providing to the client. That's what you need to understand about service. Okay, so now let's talk about some basic types of service or some common types of service. We have a web server. A web server are used to host websites. So after you have written your HTML code or JavaScript code, any website that you develop, if you want to host it online so that anyone, whether on the internet or you are using extranet, that's internal use, anyone can access that website. You need to host it on a web server. So that's one type of server that you can configure. You also have a database server that provide database services. So you can store information there, you can retrieve information there, you can manage those information. So when you go to big shopping malls and other, even nowadays small shops are using this service, either Microsoft Access or MySQL. So you can store information about your store, maybe product name, product amount, some information about it, so that anytime you want to retrieve something, it will just give you that information that you want. So you can also set up a database server. You also have file server. If you want to store files online, or if you want to store files on a network so that users on the network can access it, you can set up a file server to manage those files. Then we have application server. You can host and run your applications so that your clients can access it using application service. We have mail service for emails. So if you want a dedicated server that will manage your email for you without using maybe third party emails, you can also set up a mail server for that. We have file transfer protocol service. If you want to transfer files between maybe two devices, you can set up a file transfer protocol for this. We have DNS service. We'll talk more about DNS service later in this course. So DNS resolve host names to IP addresses. So IP addresses are like, let's say, numbers for now. We'll talk about IP address. IP address are like, let's say, numbers. So the computer deals with these numbers. The computer recognize these numbers to locate something on the internet. So if you want to search for something, if not for DNS, we should have been using numbers to search or browse through the internet. But because of DNS, we can map a name to this IP address. So let's say instead of using Google IP address 8.8.8.8, we can use google.com straight, and the DNS server will automatically route the google.com to 8.8.8.8. So we don't need to remember the 8.8. We just need to type the letters google.com, then it will automatically do that for us. So that's one work of the DNS. We also have DHCP servers. Let's say you have only one computer, you want to give it an IP address. You can just go to the network settings, you configure your IP address, simple, you are done. But what if you have a fleet of computers? You have 10 computers, 15, 50, 100, 1,000 computers. Will you need to visit them one by one physically to assign IP address to them? That's going to be a tedious work, and that won't be an easy work to do. So with DNS servers, it automatically assign IP address to devices in your network. So even if you have 100,000, 1,000,000 devices, this server can automatically give them IP addresses without you needing to visit them one by one to give it IP address. Okay, a minute. Uh, okay, all right. The next thing is uses, features, and benefits of service. So I've combined all these things so that I'll be able to explain it once and for all, and they are similar and easy to get. First thing is Active Directory service. So with Active Directory, you can centrally manage your users, your groups, set up security policies, configure network resources. So Active Directory is mainly used in Windows Server for managing users, creating departments, assigning securities, making sure that security policies are implemented at certain layers. So that's what Active Directory do. So that's one feature and one benefit of Windows servers. We also have cloud integration. Nowadays, we have cloud platforms like Microsoft Azure, AWS, Amazon AWS, Google Clouds. With Active Directory or with nowadays servers, you can integrate this cloud platform with it so that you will get a hybrid solution. So you are running on-prem, you are running your infrastructure, you have set up your servers on-prem, but you will also have the ability to have cloud features or use cloud solutions with your server so that you will get maybe agile deployment and other benefits of cloud computing, speed and other things. Yeah. And we also have scalability. Um, let's say you have 10 terabytes of storage and it's almost full. You want to add new storage to it. With servers, you can add different sizes of storage to your servers, maybe without needing to shutting down the server or doing other stuff. Maybe sometimes if you are running maybe computers one by one without using servers, maybe if you want to do some you want to improve the RAM or you want to how do you say it? You want to change the storage. Sometimes you need to turn off that machine which will slow down production before you can do the upgrade. But with some servers, once other servers are running, you can maybe shut part of the system down, you upgrade that part, you put it up and running. Yeah, so it provides scalability to increase maybe the number of workload, or to make your server more powerful to handle large number of workload. Okay, so it also give you the ability to add more devices with easy configuration. So let's say you have set up a WDS on your Windows, or you have set up a DHCP server. If you add a new device, you don't need to configure IP address for this DHCP server, or you can even use network to do your installation. So you have one server holding your maybe your Windows image, maybe a Windows 10 ISO image, or Windows Windows 11 ISO image. One server will hold that files. Then you can use network boot to do installation for all the other devices that you add to it. So it will reduce the administration overhead. Yeah, so you don't need to do much, since especially if you are in a large business or a large enterprise which uses large number of devices. They also talk about data management, used to store big data, like vast amounts of data. You can have a database holding large amount of data. You can have a storage holding large amount of data. So that's the features that Windows Server provide. And also one is the centralized idea of it. It always give you a central location to manage all of these things without maybe doing it one by one. Yeah. Okay. It's also have a security feature. Who have access to what, um who do this, who done that. Yeah, it give you those authorization and authentication feature to protect your files. If you want to do encryption, you want to protect your applications with firewalls, you want to protect maybe sensitive data about your customers. Servers give you this ability. Also have the ability to do backups and recovery. So you can back up when there is a disaster, or when there's a system failure, you can also recover from that failure. So it give you this all of these features: reliability, um, always available, fault tolerance. Um, you can configure your server to maybe have a backup somewhere. So should in case the primary server goes down, you have a secondary server to take in charge and start with a minimal downtime and start operating. We also have the virtualization keep compatibility. So with virtual machines, we talk about them. It allow you to maybe have one single computer or one physical server. You can install virtual machine on it and install different operating systems or different servers on that same physical machine. So instead of you buying maybe 10 computers, you can just buy one powerful computer, then you install virtual machine on it, then you install other operating systems in that VM. So let's say you want to install DNS, DHCP on one physical computer. You can install maybe your server on one machine, then inside the VM you install maybe DHCP, DNS on that same machine, yeah, instead of you buying another hardware. Okay, now let's talk about examples of Windows servers. I said earlier that with this course we are going to focus on Windows Server. So we have different editions of the Windows Server, or different versions of the Windows Server. We have the um, we have the 2022, we have the 2019, Windows Server 2016, Windows Server 2012 out to, and Windows Server 2008. I think we 2025 or 2024 one is in. Yeah, so these are all versions of Windows Server that you can install on your machine, on your host machine. Okay. Apart from this, we have different features or different mode of installation for our Windows servers. You can install the desktop experience. That one give you a graphical user interface, the normal human friendly or customer friendly interface where you can use icons and other visually appealing um configurations and icons to manage your stuffs. So with desktop experience, you can just use click and go. But with a server core, that one deals with command prompts. Um, it doesn't have much icons. You will get access to maybe the CLI, yeah, get access to the CLI to manage your stuff. So if you are someone who like using scripts and other things to manage your IT stuff, you can go with the server core. You also have the nano server. As the name implies, nano is something small. Yeah, so they give you something small that you can install operating system on and start working. Okay, that's it. Alright. Now, who is a server administrator? So after this course, maybe some of you would like to continue to better understanding the four features of a server or get a full knowledge on server. You may become a server administrator and you have went to an interview and they ask you who is a server administrator, or you are saying you are a server administrator. What does a server administrator do? And why do you call yourself a server administrator? So here is saying a server administrator is a professional, someone who have in-depth knowledge about servers. They can manage, they can maintain, they can troubleshoot servers if there's a problem or if there's a downtime, they can troubleshoot. So these are experts in server management, experts in provision servers, making sure that they are secure, they perform well, they operate well, and they are updated time to time. So these are server administrator or server administrators. So if you want to be a server administrator, you need to be able to manage servers, maintain servers, configure servers, troubleshoot servers, secure servers. You can manage users using Active Directory, what permission that the user have, what can the user access, what authentication can the user use. You need to be able to manage all these things. You know, also need to be able to manage the server performance, the network traffic. Are the network coming to the server legit? We have something called DHCP starvation. It's a tool that hackers or bad actors normally use to flood your DHCP with fake devices. So your DHCP will be thinking that there are more devices joining your company or joining your network, so it will be giving IP address to them, not knowing that there's a bad actor doing this. So if let's say a legit device or a legit user want to have access to your DHCP or request your DHCP or request for IP address from your DHCP, the IP address will be out. Let's say you have configured your DHCP to give out maybe 100 IP addresses because of the size of your business. With DHCP starvation, all of them can be taken. And if a legit, maybe the manager or a service desk analyst or anyone from the company wants to access the network, he or she will not be able to access it because there will be no IP address for that person. So you need to be able to monitor your network traffic to ensure that all these things didn't happen. Also, you need to be able to back up your servers, recover it when there is a failure or when there is a disaster. You need to be able to do that. And security, patching, update, firewall configurations. You need to be able to do all of these things, and also troubleshooting server related issues or hardware issues. There is a faulty hard disk, I need to replace it. There is a faulty RAM, I need to replace it. You need to be able to do all these things. All right, so this is where the first session of this video will end. The next session we'll talk about downloading and installing operating systems. All right, so till we meet again, see you next time. Bye.